Slipping like salamanders on calendars, burning candles and handling 10 hands from ladies that can't dance. I'm rolling with tight bands, fooling with right bands and no chance. I got the brain like the Rain Man. I'm gripping bricks and flipping all of the switches. Swiss house, cheddar on the bedding of the riches. Who that the boy, write bars like Tolstoy. Bring in the noise, magic like Malfoy. Is the beast in the sheets and man color in the streets. Mentally untouchable lover, all in the dreams and sign this. You can't miss, reflect all the light, go sign the damn night. Why it's
What's amazing is he looks just like you.
We get that a lot. I get a lot of comparisons with Lil Clint, man. I don't know why exactly. I don't wear glasses upside down. The hell?
It's even the way he moves is like you.
Yeah, he's a bit smoother though. You know what I mean? I'm a bit stiff compared to him.
Yeah, that's probably true. Wow, look at them chops.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that move right there.
Anyway, I like that.
Thanks, man.
Really, really good. And bear in mind, I am the worst snob when it comes to hip hop. I'm just like, everything's shit. But I really, really like that.
You like it? Shit. If I got Grannon's approval, that's all I need, man.
That's all you need. Now you can go forth and multiply, my son. Go forth and multiply. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We are the Tentacle Croissant. I'm the Tentacle. That guy's the Croissant.
I'm the Croissant.
Oh, yeah. How have you been, sir? It's been a while since I last spoke to you.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I was talking to the other Richard that works with David Icke, the filmmaker, before we started talking today. And it's funny because now small talk is almost impossible because you ask people, hey, how's it going? What's new? Oh, well, same as you. Everyone's doing the same thing. No one actually has anything new going on in their lives at the moment because we're all stuck doing the same thing inside.
I just, before we came on, I needed to go to the supermarket really quick. And I was going around the supermarket and I was singing. I was singing to myself. And a woman looked at me with the kind of hatred that is reserved nowadays for people coughing. Because I was my Irish Rebel song.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in a Dublin street.
How loud were you? How loud and how performative? Yeah. And he just hated it.
Yeah, she wasn't feeling it. I was being my happy little Irish imp.
Did she have a Karen name tag anywhere?
She had a Karen face on her face.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they don't like.
She had a Karen face where a normal face should have been.
Yeah, they don't like people enjoying themselves, man.
Oh no, not at all. But I feel really good at the moment. I feel really, really happy.
It's weird, right? At the same time, with all the shit going down, I don't know if it's just applicable to our kinds of personalities, which you just totally disappeared. Your internet connection just left me to do my... Welcome to Tentacle Croissants. I will be your only host for today. Goodbye, Richard. How's everyone in the chat doing today? What have you guys been up to? Let me know. I wonder if I could highlight your comments. I cannot, but I will read them out loud. So go ahead and tell me what you guys have been up to, and I will read your comments out loud. Goodbye, Richard. You know, it's funny. Me and him, we actually planned on doing it 1 hour earlier. And then through a misunderstanding, I actually had to push my plans to put this an hour after. And Little Siberia probably has to come an hour after than it is now. Anyways, hello Measure Twice, hello Totally Archer, and hello UG Rose, three of the main moderators in this motherfucker. Yeah. Alexandra listened to 80s pop. Richard got an alert for toilet paper. That's right, Nikki. Marina says, dancing in front of my windows for all of my neighbors to see and hate me, or maybe they like you. Pam says, reorganizing my cans of Vienna sausage. That's a very specific type of sausage. I think my dad liked that. Unsilent Storm says, watching videos and reading about Coroni and playing Duel. I don't know how to pronounce that. Doing criminology assignment now. Now is the time to get a lot of work done. Thank God. Imagine if I wasn't experienced hosting my own live stream right now. Imagine being a guest during a live stream and then the host disappears. How unfortunate and awkward would it be for the guest if they were totally not experienced with their hosting their own show, and then the host just vanishes, man. Let's see what Richard says here.
Wow, StreamYard just kicked us the fuck out.
It's okay. I am still live right now. Are you gonna come back, or do I just have to host this myself and do the very first PRXO solo show in Tentacle Croissant? That's a mouthful of a word. Tentacle Croissant. Where did Barry come from? I don't know, man. Who was the guy that looks like you in that video? I think his name's Lil Klimp, and he's a rapper that looks and acts exactly like me. It's really weird. I just tried Wim Hof's breathing technique. Feels amazing. Is that the one that goes something like that? They say networks can't take the load because everyone is consistently online during the quarantine. Oh, that's right. Let me tell him that. Actually, Richard, there is a warning on the StreamYard dashboard saying that there's a lot of people that are using StreamYard's website right now because of the quarantine. Dude, we're not even safe on the internet. How is the internet disrupted during the quarantine? Amazing, man. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering his internet connection was kind of choppy. Oh, maybe Richard can do voice. I don't know, like, what's gonna happen because he's not even reading my WhatsApp thing. Dude, I pushed my plans back an hour so he could leave me alone on this live stream. I pushed my whole plans back just so he can leave in the middle of it. Amazing. Thank you, Quarantino. Thank you, Coroni. I appreciate the inconveniences that you have bestowed upon us. No place to hide and have fun anymore. It's okay. I'm hanging out with y'all. It's all good. We like you too, Pierre. It's okay. I hope so, totally. Did Lil Klimp give you the bracelets or did he keep them all? Dude, Lil Klimp went by and just grabbed every bracelet that Mary gave me. And now I don't know where it is. Pierre, what's it like in Prague at the minute? I haven't been outside for a few days, but on one of the sunny days, everybody was actually outside, but everybody was totally masked out. I got recognized by my friend, and he was completely covered with a mask and sunglasses, and I couldn't see any of his face. We were a group of 4, and a cop approached the both of us and told us that we couldn't hang out. Well, we actually left before he could tell me that, but yeah. Berries and tentacles are oddly on this super old Bible. My uncle's passed away recently. His house was empty, and the Bible was there. What does that mean? Could that be a synchronicity? Richard just sent me Cardi B screaming coronavirus. Bruh. Tell Cardi I said hi, but are you coming back to this live stream? Because I will do this whole show on my own. I put my plans back for this, and you just left my ass solo, brother. I wanted to talk about these Corona-spiracies. Corona-spiracy! I just labeled a new term. Yeah. Coronavirus, dude, unbelievable. Yeah, this is how deep our friendship goes, everyone. He doesn't let me know that he pushed the damn plan back an hour, and then he leaves me in the middle of the stream, and then sends me Cardi B screaming, "Coronavirus! Coronavirus! The shit is real!" Amazing, Illuminati, dude. Okay, guys. Is there anything that you guys want to ask Mr. XO? In the meantime, there has been a lot of information that's come out when it comes to coronavirus. I can't say it because the monetization. And there is a news article that I was really looking forward to talking to Mr. Squid about, and it's the fact that they intercepted SARS H1N1 and Contagion. And I think there might have been a copy of a coronavirus in the luggage that was intercepted in a U.S. airport by Chinese nationals. So that's something to worry about.
I'm trying to get back in, and it's just giving me the spinning circle of death. Please keep talking to them, and I'll keep trying to get back in.
All right, man. You know, it'd be funny. I guess this would be the next best alternative if we went and dual live streamed on Instagram, and then I'll just hold my phone to the camera, and then we could just talk like that, man. I don't know. It could be very futuristic and cyberpunk. I will be at NHS Nightingale, so I'll let you know if it's all real. Be careful, please cover up. A lot of nurses have been contracting corona because of that, and it's really, really worrying because what happens when the health professionals can't even get proper protection for the situation? Okay, boom. I saw testing kits that are infected. Yeah, unbelievable, right? Unbelievable. What happened was the testing kits that I think the UK had they had at least 24,000 testing kits in the UK, and they were being handled by somebody that was infected by corona. What kind of fucking incompetent motherfucker can why would that happen? And that raises so many conspiracy angles to this situation, because how do you get someone that's supposed to be handling the testing kits to be infected with the damn Roni in the first place? That just screams either people are way dumber than I would like to think that they are, or they're just way more incompetent than they are, or there's a straight up Illuminati New World Order. It's unbelievable. I can't believe it. It is crazy. The thing around here, people weren't affected until they got tested for it. Now, that's the thing, right? What's the best way to actually spread the virus if it's just you put the swab in your mouth and nose with it on, right? There's 24,000 of them. That's going to exponentially quadruple really soon.
I've shut everything down, restarted my computer. I'm trying to get back in now. And if it doesn't work, we'll do the Instagram thing. Oh, this is going to be so friggin' weird.
All right, cool, man. I'll put you on a tripod next to me, and it would be hilarious because then we'd be talking we'd be talking with your digital face on my digital face. Ew, no, not like that, but you know what I mean. Remember when the times where we were gonna thought the Third World War is gonna start? Well, another fascinating thing is that the language that's being used for this virus is war. It has nothing to do with the fucking war. It's not a war. And then the way that the American media is presenting this whole pandemic and crisis, you'll see it on the Fox News banners at the bottom of the screen. War on coronavirus. No. And then Trump is also stating it in the same way. He's saying, all right, this corona thing, it's this corona thing. I swear to God, it's now I declare a war on the coronavirus. It has nothing to do with the damn war. But I just find it really fascinating. Out of all the things that they could call the situation, they had to use that word. I don't know why they would do that. Oh, let's look at conspiracy theories. Oh, programming. How about that?
All over my digital face and tits.
Oh, God. You guys didn't hear that. We had a few numbers that tested, and even younger people started to get it. Can only catch a virus from a vaccine, cannot transmit viruses. Viruses are exosomes. They're solvents produced by the cells within the body in reaction to poisons from food and air. But you got a lot of scientists that can figure things out for sure. Richard needs a personal assistant stat. Dude, this is like a nightmare of a live stream. Thank God the following on this joint account isn't as big as it should, or at least this ain't like live news right now, man. This shit would be crazy. Oh God. All right, let's see what he says here. All right, dude, I'm gonna get a selfie stick tripod thing, and I'm gonna set you up right next to me, and it's just gonna be fucking weird, but it's the only thing we can do now, baby. Hey, yeah. Give me a second, y'all. Must improvise. That's what I do. That's what I motherfucking do. Why you lying? On the lying. Love is lying. Why the hell lying? Oh, you're getting real close. You gotta murder. You making it hard for me. Oh no. Where the hell's the selfie stick when I need it? Oh my god, dude. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ah, there it is. Okay, let's see how this will work. I don't know. Oh, the light just went out. Fuck, this is a goddamn disaster, man. Oh shit. Oh, damn it. Okay, that's much better. All right. I think Richard just went live on IG. I'm trying to set up the camera right now. I can't believe I have to do this. God damn it, Richard. Should it must end up like in such a way? Jesus, can't you just guessed Richie from his own IG profile to yours? Well, yeah, I can, and that's what I'm gonna do. But because this YouTube stream is still here right now, we're gonna do it with pure ingenuity, man.
I'm in. I'm live on Instagram as well. Okay, this is going to be weird. So, folks, you go to Tentacle Croissant and you'll see me and Pierre on Tentacle Croissant. That's what you want. Don't stay here. Yeah, we're good.
I guess it works. All right, awesome.
I'm gonna leave them there.
I was just saying, could you imagine being on a live newscast or a talk show, and then the host just disappears, and then the guest would just have to be like,
"Hey, fuck it, we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
I wonder what his opinion is about all this.
Come and join us on YouTube. I'm telling the Instagram people to join us there. His opinion, I don't know. Does it involve immigrants? Is there a racist angle that you can
I was literally
take?
going to say he'd probably blame some minority that has nothing to do with China or anything of the virus, and it's their fault.
You know, I really feel if we had tighter border controls, that a lot of this trouble could have been avoided.
Dude, you know that dude Glenn Beck?
Yes.
He did I think he has his own web show, and he was like really, really red in this episode. He was like a tomato for some reason. I don't know why he was so red, but he was basically saying that Americans should be brave enough to go to work and sacrifice themselves to work right now for the future, for the kids and stuff. And the fact that you would go to work during this time is bravery.
Nice of him to offer people. Then why don't you sacrifice your damn self? lead by example, Glenn. Never mind talking about Americans. This vague sort of conglomerate gloop of Americans should do this. What about you, Glenn?
Yeah, right. Anyways, yeah, he was really red though. So
fuck that red face motherfucker.
Yeah. So I was introducing everybody to the massive amounts of really questionable information that we've been finding in the last few days. It's unbelievable. At this point, it's hard to argue what's happening at the moment. You know?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? It's a very strange time, and you sort of. I think everybody's probably doing the same thing as we are. Even people who are not into conspiracies are like, hey, hang on. So I think we're waiting to see what this is the jab. Where's the right cross? When's that coming? Because this isn't it. We all know that. Like in our animal instinct, we're all like, this is not, this is the fucking first strike. It's the second one that's going to, and then we'll all be like, oh, right. It was because of the aliens.
Yeah. No, totally. And with the conversation, the video call that I had with the other guys earlier today, because they host the alternative media stuff, right? And I just thought about the fact that okay, at this point in this situation, the mainstream is now, or not the mainstream media, but the people in general are now looking at alternative media because it's actually raising so many more questions amongst the masses in general that they have to look at conspiracy now because none of the questions are being answered and nothing adds up. The average person knows that nothing adds up.
And the mainstream media is flapping every day. Their reporting gets a little more desperate because they're coronavirus. and they're really trying to pump the fact that it's really bad. It's really, really bad. But they must know. They must know you can't keep doing that. That human psychology doesn't work like that. If you keep hitting the same button, but of threat, but there's nothing that happens, people get worn out and they just go, well, there's nothing coming. So the Brits are saying, the British press is like, well, you know what happened overnight? 200 more people were killed.
Yes,
they were killed.
Right.
Like, they weren't killed. Nothing killed them. They died of an illness. They were very sick.
Right.
Other humans tried to help them and they didn't make it. Nobody killed them.
Every mainstream news outlet YouTube video coming now is just, all it is just reporting how many more people caught it and how many more people died. That's it. And I think in addition to what you're saying about it, it's okay, we get it. People are dying a lot. Whatever. We'll buy your narrative. However, if that's the case, we still want answers. We still know that our questions aren't being answered. You know,
well,
great.
I released a video the other day just saying, look, the mainstream media keeps reporting the fatality rate is this. Nobody knows what the mortality rate of this disease is because that's not how statistics work. We're only getting information. That was my only point, that the mainstream media is being irresponsible when they say these things because we don't know. I was shouted down by some doctors, some virologists, some nurses, and then other doctors and nurses were like, no, that's absolutely true. 3 hours later, the Lancet produced a piece of research from the University of Oxford saying exactly that. And it says we can't derive the fatality statistic. We've no idea because all we're doing is we're taking number of confirmed cases, number of deaths and going, well, what's the percentage? We don't know. The confirmed cases is people who are tested. How many fucking people are untested with this thing? Is it 5 times the number tested and confirmed? Is it 10? Or is it more likely to be a factor of 15? Because every time you jump up and you go, well, if it's a pandemic and we've only tested 15,000 people, but we're telling people there's going to be 2 million people infected, I'm not a mathematician. I fucking hate statistics, but I'm not a dummy. I know that you can't say what the mortality rate is. Everybody was telling me I was a right-wing conspiracy theorist. I was told to get in my lane and shut the fuck up. And then the University of Oxford released that 3 hours later. I was like, fucking my God. I'll let the University of Oxford do what they need to do and I'll shut the fuck up then.
Shabuya. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we all know that the statistics are really unreliable right now. And just for the mere fact that we need more time in order to get accurate statistics. That's not even a conspiracy theory. It's not even doubting something. That's what you need.
You could be a news reporter. You could be a news reporter and you could say, we don't know. Okay? Yeah. Please stay at home because we don't know. We're not fucking children. Don't say, please stay at home because everybody's dying, because they're clearly not.
That's exactly my role with this whole thing. I still don't know how serious it is or not, but because it's still so fresh and it's so new, I would much rather just play it safe and then, I self-isolate for now, see what happens. But and I agree, they should just say we don't know. So best and just stay inside and just figure it out. But regardless of the statistics, and say though that many people are dying or that many people are catching it. Okay, great. Now what? You're going to tell us what is going to happen next? If their cure is going to come out, the testing kits, can we get more of those? What about the economy thing? Are you going to fix that? Can you answer some more questions about this thing, please?
Yeah. And this is where it makes sense to play for time. And I would just say to people, the nature of science and data and statistics is we need a larger sample size. Every single psychological study that's ever been done, you can tear it to shreds just with one thing: sample size. It's never big enough. It never can be big enough because that's just the nature of it. So you say, look, we don't know. Please stay home. We're very concerned about this. Some people are not. Some virologists are saying this is a massive overreaction, but this is, and then you stand by it. You have the balls to say, we may be wrong, but what they're doing now is they're trying to preempt the mistake. They're trying to say, no, we all believe that it could kill everybody, because the way it looks now is that it's going to turn out that actually the proper response was always isolate the vulnerable, isolate the elderly. That would have been the better response. And before people get really angry with us in the comments and say, oh, you're talking about letting people die. When you crash the economy, people die. So you're saying because you're young, you don't care? No, we also care about old people. And we know when you crash the economy, old people die alone and unfed. That is what happens in a broken economy. So it's this faulty fucking argument where everybody's trying to make it not about what it is. The question is this a proportionate and correct response or not? That's the only question really that we should be asking at the moment.
Right. And right now, no one knows. No one really knows what the extent the situation is, and we don't even know if this is a proper response or not. But in the meantime, in this cloud of ambiguity, the only thing we can do is just better safe than sorry. Perhaps wear a mask, perhaps stay inside a bit more. Don't be hugging, kissing, and flipping random strangers at this time, because we know the virus is getting out there and hospitals are getting swarmed and swept up. But the fact is, this thing is affecting everybody in the world. We can't even say the macaroni virus. We can't talk about it. And everybody just wants answers. And every mainstream news media outlet is only reporting on how many people supposedly caught it. Let's talk about the origin. Let's talk about how it got here. Let's talk about the research that's done with it. Let's talk about what do we do with the economy. What about those things? No one's answering that in the mainstream.
And we should be able to have the conversation in the same way that scientists would, in a calm and sober way, and say, okay, we're doing testing, are we? What about how reliable is the testing? So I went to the website for the PCR test, and the manufacturer's website openly admits that you will get false positives. So I said, the manufacturer's website admits that you'll get false positives. In Iceland, they did a test, and 50% of everybody that they found who was confirmed to have the coronavirus was asymptomatic. So somebody says to me, but you didn't mention the fact that the 50% who are asymptomatic are false positives. And I'm like, yes, but what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That means the 50% who are confirmed have false positives there as well. This coronavirus, apparently there are 7 strains. 3 of them are nasty. The SARS, MERS, and SARS-CoV-2. We're all calling it COVID-19. Apparently that's not proper. You're supposed to call it SARS-CoV-2. And then there's 4 other ones that account for a ton of colds. And they look the same. So you've got this test that's going, is there a coronavirus? Meaning, is there a molecule with a corona around it with these spikes? Yeah, okay, he's got it. That's what the test does. Of course it gives you false positives.
And guess what I just found out? I highly recommend everyone to look up this YouTube channel. If you type in this word Gravitas, it's a news news show that's fairly very, very, very informative. It doesn't seem like they have an agenda at the moment. But anyways, I just watched the video from them saying that they just found out that China has been manufacturing these test kits, and like 60 to 70% of those test kits were, let's just say, they gave false results.
Yeah.
Like a
what
good
about,
percentage.
What about the test kits that have been sent over that are actually already infected with COVID-19?
Yep, I brought that up briefly in your disappearance, man. Unbelievable. So not only are they sending faulty test kits that give you false positives and false negatives, somebody was handling 24,000, something like that, test kits with the COVID.
Definitely thousands. I didn't know it was 24,000. Jesus Christ. But it was in the thousands that are potentially infected with the virus.
Unbelievable.
But at this point, it's gotten so silly that it kind of like everything's believable. Everything is like all bets are off. It's all believable now. So faulty test kits, massive amounts of faulty test kits being sent out that we know are going to give you false positives, that we know are going to make people, because all the news is reporting is how many confirmed cases, and everybody's going, ooh, this justifies the response. Show me the mortality rate, show me the confirmed cases. And I'm going, how do you know that those are the numbers for the confirmed cases? How do you know that's the mortality rate? Are you committing the fallacy of false causation? If an 85-year-old lady, God bless her soul, who had pneumonia for a year, contracts COVID-19 and dies, does the good doctor sign off and say this person died of COVID-19? Mm-hmm. How? Are we all agreeing on when we say a person has died of COVID-19? Do we have a modality for saying this person had COVID-19, but actually we feel the cause of death was they fell into a pond or something? Like if you fall into a pond of
right.
COVID-19, do you get marked on the? It's data, and you could say I'm being petty, but it matters because we are going to crush the economy, cause huge amounts of suffering on the basis of threat. Now, if we misassess the threat, our response won't be worth what the threat would have given us. I know it's difficult, I know it's complicated, but really this feels like a huge, at this point, to me, it seems to be a huge overreaction.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the way that we would send each other articles about this developing crisis, we just do it with clown faces and laugh about it because it's so ridiculous. The stuff that's coming out about this thing that no one ever talks about and how things are being covered. It's okay. You're telling me somebody that's handling the test kits actually had the Roni? What do you mean? You were that irresponsible enough to let that happen, or even worse, the Illuminati's behind this, and it seems like an accident. Like, what the fuck? Are you kidding?
It reminds me of the situation where they had all those blood samples. I think they got sold, and it was mainly America, I think, that bought them, and they were all HIV positive. So people who needed blood transfusions were receiving blood transfusions of HIV blood.
Amazing.
And you were talking, it was hundreds of thousands, and you just think, how does that happen? Who went to jail for that? Like, if I go out and run somebody over now and kill them and end their life, I'm going to jail. Who's held? Give me a name. Give me a group of names. Somebody must be in charge of that, right? But this is the way the world is. This is the way it works.
Yeah,
and I think this is the price we pay for our comfort, right? We're lazy now. We don't read properly.
Right. I mean, I guess if you think about it, I mean, people put the wrong price tag on a pair of jeans or something like that, and in order to accidentally like swap out a sample of something, and it's just the same type of mistake with a lot more dire consequences.
Yeah. It's and it hurts. It hurts a lot of people. But I think there's with all of this stuff. Well, we didn't even touch on the oil crisis that's going on, which is really strange. Like right now, the price of oil is going through the floor, and so it looks like people are benefiting. It looks like there's a war. It looks like it's an economic war, and people are definitely making money from this. It just isn't us.
Yeah, I mean, while that whole oil situation's happening too, I mean, it's fact. It's on paper, the fact that China is the only country really profiting off of this. No other country is going through an economic boom that's outside of the oil tycoons. They are selling thousands and thousands of testing kits, and half of them don't even work. It's it's like
tell them the news article you sent me, where the Indian lady was reporting that in China, in Gravitas, China in January of this year, 60,000 Chinese companies registered as producers of face masks and gloves. 60,000 companies, ladies and gentlemen, in January of this year in China registered as producers of face masks and gloves. When we're rushing to order, China's like, oh yeah,
what do you know? We got a lot of them. And guess what? We had a head start on the containment. Oh, well, we can go back to work now because our country contained and self-isolated enough. Everybody go back to your sweatshops. Let's go make those masks. The material of those masks is from a company called Dawn Polymer, and their stocks rose up about 420%.
Maybe what they wanted to do is they wanted to give people a little break from work. They're like, look, 2020 is going to be a hard year work-wise. Everybody just go home, chill with your kids, realize how annoying it is to be at home with your families, get some rest, because 2020, we're going to work you to death. And then they're like, January, they're like, have you released the virus? We released it. You know when you take drugs and you don't come up for a minute and you're like, oh, maybe we need to do more? I'm sure like they were sat there in January going, are you sure? Did you release this? Right? Yes, we did, because nobody's getting sick. Because we didn't know. Like nobody realized until end of January.
I'm gonna post that link in the chat discussion thing right now. But this is the very news channel or whatever that really changed my perspective about this entire situation, because this is not just conspiracy stuff. This is stuff that genuinely happened, and it doesn't seem like they have an agenda in a particular way. I guess what their agenda is to expose what the hell China's up to at this moment.
They're the only media outlet who have the balls to actually give China some stick, because everybody else is licking China's bum.
That's it.
They're so exemplary. They're so amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about that, dude. What is up with that?
I don't want to. I'm afraid I'll be killed.
Oh my god! Man.
Yeah, it's really strange. Even Trump is like, "Oh, they're amazing. It's wonderful what China's done. It's wonderful." I'm like, "How's it wonderful?"
Yeah,
they behaved in a way that their own scientists told the government, like, "You have to stop doing this. You can't let these wet markets run. You can't have pigs stacked on top of geese, stacked on top of bats, shitting and pissing into each other's mouths, and then humans eating it, because that's what creates a zoonotic disease."
And Gravitas just released a video today. The wet markets are back.
Are they really?
I think they're back.
Fuck.
They're fucking back. And then the best part about what you said right there was the people are actually fighting for the bosses, the directors of the World Health Organization to resign right now. They're fucking fed up with them, because if you watch these interviews with the directors and the bosses right now, you're going to see some straight up really mysterious stuff. I sent Richard a clip the other day. I wish StreamYard wasn't so laggy so we could watch a few of these. But one of the I think the Canadian director was being questioned about China's relations with Taiwan. Right? Do you want to take the rest? You probably can get more details.
He just straight up refused to answer any questions about Taiwan's response. He just was like, I'm not doing that. This is the World Health Organization, just straight up. They just weren't doing it.
Let's talk about how he went about it. Here, can we role play this, Richard? Do you want to ask me about it?
Yeah, okay. So I'll be the girl. So can we talk about Taiwan's response and what you feel about Taiwan's response to the coronavirus? I'm sorry, did we break up? Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I'm sorry. I think we've lost connection here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get the question.
Oh, okay. What I was asking you is, what is the World Health Organization's response to... The World Health Organization's response is...
This sounds like an exaggeration, but actually the real clip is more funny and more surreal than how we're acting it out.
Yeah, more adolescent. It's way more adolescent.
He pretended like he didn't hear anything, and then he hung up on her.
Yeah.
And all she did was just ask about Taiwan.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And we haven't yet brought up, and I feel like we should in the early phases of this, the cases that I sent you of the FBI catching multiple Chinese nationals over the last 3 years coming into America with dangerous diseases like MERS, SARS, not COVID-19, but other coronaviruses coming in with vials, and they didn't have the paperwork for them. And they'll be like, "Oh, I've brought this into the country for research." It's like MERS is way more lethal than SARS-CoV-2. I think it kills half the people who contract it, and they're just coming in with their luggage, like, "Oh, I've got a bit of MERS there."
So a bit of more details on that. I watched the commentary video on that case right before we started. So apparently they just had it in what looked like contact lens cases. Something just fucking tiny, just shoved in their luggage somewhere. And then they asked them, do you have anything in your luggage that we need to check? And they're like, no, nothing at all. Nothing. Oh, oops. Oh yeah, we might have a little bit of that. And then they also said that first they denied it, and then they said that someone told them to.
Right.
Someone told them to bring them to somebody, to a research lab. So they didn't even claim the responsibility for it, which all screams sketchy as a motherfucker.
Yeah, sketchy as fuck. Why is America summoning Chinese nationals to go over with vials of extremely dangerous diseases in their luggage? And some of them were mislabeled, right? They were going, "Oh, this is the flu," and then they looked at the label, and somebody had handwritten like a code for H1N1. They didn't write H1N1. There's another code for it, and they're like, "This is not the flu. This is not the fucking flu." So
and this was 2018, I think, too, if I remember correctly. So just a year, just about a year.
This is mainstream media reporting, by the way, folks. Look up FBI, Chinese nationals.
I have it here.
MERS,
I think,
and SARS. MERS is MERS, Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome.
Yeah, we got to have this shit ready, man. But yeah, so it turns out that the Chinese were attempting to smuggle in pandemic-inducing viruses for a few years before this happened. That's kind of weird, no?
It's a little strange. It's a little strange. But you know, the reason why I'm happy.
Why are you happy?
Everybody's dragged into my reality now because I did not live in this world.
Richard, I will give you that.
I've been on this, right?
No, I will definitely say with no ego or pride that you were completely right for a long period of time, man. And I was always treading the water, just kind of like just playing around. Like, it was like I was in the water, but I still needed to stand. And then I was still like passing the volleyball around and still enjoying myself, knowing that the water gets deeper and deeper. Yeah. But you've been on this for a long time, man.
Well, there's kind of I'm not happy that that this is happening. I'm not happy that people are suffering, not at all. But the fact that people are at home, everybody's got a question mark over their head. We're all like little characters in a computer game, question mark going, "Hey, what was that noise? That shouldn't be there." Everybody's doing their research, and I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Well, now you see. Now you fucking see." So this is, to me, is the world unmasked. So the world before was more stressful for me because the cognitive dissonance was it causes a lot of stress. It's like, okay, I have to pretend like we're not living in this system. We're not slaves. We're not in a camp. And inside I'm screaming.
I was actually walking with my friend to get groceries the other day. And don't worry, we were socially distanced enough. But I'm trying to send this link, but I can't. If you type in suspected SARS virus and flu germs found in luggage on Google, you'll find it. But I was walking with her, and we were kind of on the same page with a lot of these things. We always felt like I would describe it as how Morpheus describes the Matrix. You go through your life and you just feel like the splinter in your mind that something is wrong and you just don't know what it is. And something was wrong for a long period of time, even with all the indulgence and social media fun and fuckery and all those things. But everybody was going through a lot of cognitive dissonance, and that's a great way to put it. I never thought about putting it in that in those terms, but I think you're right, man.
We're all inside the pods, banging against the pods. Like when you're trying to sleep, but you're agitated, or you need the bathroom or something. You start spinning in your bed, and you're like, "No, I want to go to sleep, but let me go back." And you're just being dragged back to consciousness. It's not comfortable. Right. And I think everybody's been doing that for a little while. Yep. And so now we're in this state where we just have to look. That's what apocalypse means, by the way. It's a revelation. It means apocalypto in Greek is the unveiling. It's a revelation. You see the mask is pulled off, and then you just see people are being forced to stay at home. They're being forced to look at their family relations, their kids, their jobs, like who they are. And I'm like, okay, it hurts. I know it sucks. I know it's uncomfortable, but this is a great opportunity, a truly great opportunity for us to start to consciously evolve. This will pass and we'll go back to normal again, which somebody called me today, and it's a young man, younger than you, he's really upset, looking for like guidance. And I was like, don't worry, everything is going to go back to normal. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad. And I'm like, I'm fucking not. I don't want it to go back to normal because that means everybody goes back to being trapped. But for a while, we'll be like this. And then I think it will, for another period of time, it will just go back to the way it was.
Right. And I think that's what me and my friend were talking about too, and including you. I think all of us have been always peering behind the veil, at least you with both eyes, mine probably with just one. And when you're going through life like that, there is that cognitive dissonance because you feel a certain way, but you see something else. And for the longest time, you see everybody denying what's behind the veil. And in your case, you see the whole fucking thing, while everyone else is stuck in this matrix of sorts. And this is really exposing the fact that we actually did or do live in a matrix. Because right now, there aren't any distractions. You have to focus on these particular things that are more real than real. And people are forced to shift their consciousness and awareness to look at these things in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Which, as I say, it could be a really, really good opportunity. Like for me personally, I'm going, okay, I feel better in ways that I don't usually feel good. Like usually if I'm feeling good, it's like I rate myself on the CPTSD scale, which is like going, how crazy am I not? And I'm like, well, I'm not flashbacking, so I must be feeling pretty good. This is a different phase for me. I'm like, hey, this is for me, this moment is a transcendent moment. Last year when I was in Ibiza and I talked to you about the whole Egypt thing and the prophecy,
right.
I kind of lost connection with that again, and then I got back in contact with it again this week, and I was like, this is it. That's
a really similar, the way that you're describing that is really similar to how I felt when I started doing LSD.
Right.
When I was experimenting with psychedelics, it confirmed all of the dissonance that I was feeling on a day-to-day basis, where I felt a lot more like myself and my understanding was actually confirmed. Like
yes.
the lens that I was viewing reality was validated. Like it's right. But the thing is, living in the societal constructs that everybody's living by, especially with pre-corona, where everybody's really sucked into the matrix itself, that has been in the works for years and years and years in this collective delusion. And this is something that you're constantly stating in your videos and your, I guess, general principles in general. So, I mean, this situation is just really revelatory.
The big block for most people, and why I stopped ranting at normal people about they're not my ideas. It's just truth. I have to lie to people to make friends and communicate and get through life. I just have to lie. The reason why I stopped is because I realized that they couldn't hear me because of work. Like if you work for the system and you're paying taxes into the system, you don't want to hear that 9/11, that's the official story of 9/11 was nonsense. You don't want to hear that the 7/7 London bombings were being practiced for on the morning, a simulation of that was, because you're just like, well, what the fuck do I do with that? In my life, I was going to be Army, military intelligence, MI5. I knew exactly what I was going to do. I already had my agreement with a regiment to take me through that process. They were already giving me money. They fund young graduates to go through. And I had to not take that career path because of all this, because of seeing this shit for what it is. So being able to share that truth with people now, because they're not working, and a lot of people aren't going back to work. That's done. Their jobs are done. So now they're a little bit more open to it, but I'm not pushing it. I'm not going to push it on people because it's not kind. It's not a kind thing to do. But I think if you're in the system and you're working, you can't afford to hear this stuff.
Well,
you just can't.
Yeah, you're right. If you're in the system, all of your thoughts, actions, and beliefs will benefit the system to keep things contained and safe. But now you remove the system. The system's obliterated right now. It's fucking done. It's done for now. Like it's gone. So now what are people going to look for? They look for answers. Look for at least some perspective, because that's the only thing you can do when the system isn't even benefiting you, or you can't even benefit the system because it's gone. Yes. So at this point, the only thing you can look at is anything that gives you a slight perspective or answer. And that's what they need now.
It's interesting you say that about the system dissolving, because in the UK, they're trying to use the narrative, and I've noticed the Americans are doing it as well. I keep up with UK news and American news. They're calling it a war, and Boris Johnson is trying to revive the spirit of Winston Churchill. So we're supposed to be like the Brits in World War II who put up with Nazi bombing. But I think after a week of that, they realize that that narrative doesn't work.
Mhm.
It's not a war. It's not a war. And there's no historical precedent that we can put our feet on to push forward with. It's, as you say, it's a meta problem. It's a dissolving of the reality that we've been living in. Reality is dissolving around us.
Right. That's it. Yep.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it.
The entire construct that everyone or society at large they placed their belief in is entirely dissolving. Everyone's going through a collective ego death at the moment. And what's interesting, I think on both of our platforms, we approach it in a similar way. Let's unveil the hard, painful truths about what it's like to be a person and human interaction with one another. But in the Matrix pre-Corona era, you don't want to split that because that delusion is harmonious, right? You would rather just close your eyes because the system is still working for you, and by you putting effort into the system, it rewards you. But because there's no more system at all, people are really looking to platforms like yours, and I see on mine now more positive reception and attention, not only because people are bored out of their minds, but they're more open to the narratives that we present because they can't work for the system anymore. It doesn't benefit them in any way.
Here now I must say that they are not, in fact, rewarded. This is ideology at its purest. Nobody was ever really rewarded. We were like primitive peoples being offered beads by more advanced, cynical peoples who were like, there, my children, enjoy. Oh, the beads, they shine, the beautiful beads. And they're going, they're made of glass, you fucking morons. Now sign this piece of paper that means I own your land. That was our reward. That was our pleasure. That was and this is what Slavoj was saying. He's been saying it for literally decades. It is easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. It is easier to imagine the end of the world, and now we live that. And he's also been saying this is the end times. One way or another, this must be the end times. It cannot continue as it was. So, I think the world is forced to take DMT.
Yep. I like that analogy. To further expand on that, you're saying, okay, here are the beads that are shiny, right? So then the primitive beings, the monkeys, are like, ooh, shiny, shiny, shiny. And then we symbolically attach the meaning to the shiny. The shinier, the more you have, and the more food, and the more flips, and the more benefits that you can have when you see it in the shine. And then one day, I don't know, the sun goes out, right? And then the beads don't shine anymore. You're like, wait. What? No. And then the symbolic meaning dissolves itself, and then now they have to think about, wait, these motherfuckers up here just gave us what? What the fuck is this? Why did we praise this for so long? We need answers.
Yeah, which is, I mean, if we take beads literally as money, we may have, well, I mean, the problems that we're going to have with money in the next few years. It bothers me because I've been making money and I have capital. I am a capitalist, my friend. And I'm like, that money that I have might not be worth shit in a few years. Literally inside of 18 months, it might be worth nothing.
Yeah, I just started making a bit of money. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the next best thing? I was literally, man, I don't know if it's just me being paranoid or smart, but I was just on the toilet, just looking up articles of what fiat money is or whatever those things are. Like, what would be the alternative? What would people use in replacement of money when the value disappears off a piece of paper or a binary number?
Well, people are buying gold like crazy at the moment. They're buying gold like fucking crazy at the moment.
Yeah.
They're talking like, because I know people who are business owners and they're like, oh, there's going to be relief. They're going to pump money back into the system and then we'll be okay. And I'm like, no, you won't. We don't want them. Like, obviously on the one hand, you've got a mortgage, you want to feed your kids, you want to pump money into the system, you want quantitative easing. But on the other side, if you're a true capitalist, you don't want that, because now you could put more beads in the barrel. Now my shitty beads aren't worth anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. The sun's already gone. You gotta fix the fact that there's no sun anymore, not the fact that the beads don't shine.
Right.
By putting more beads, it's not gonna shine any brighter. This is a good analogy. I'm gonna make a whole fucking video.
Analogy. It's a good analogy. See, this is where it takes the mind of a poet to see the true evil. The true evil. I claim it's a miracle. I love it.
Yeah,
I mean, are we going to speak to some folks today as well? Sorry, what were you
yeah. No, that's fine. I think yeah, I got a bit more time, so we could put on a timer or something. We don't have to do the bomb thing because the internet's gonna fucking like.
Okay, so we're gonna have people on, but we're gonna use. Okay, I'm gonna do my best.
I can manually put a timer here, and then like they could see it go down. So we're doing what? How long should I time it for?
Let's do like a 1 minute. A 1 minute timer. Are you going to do a manual thing? This is just so we all stay disciplined with the timings of everything.
Yeah, because I have to go fairly soon too, so I don't want to just go over time. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to let you do it. All right, folks. I'm going to put our link in the meet.
Can you see that?
Yes, sir. And when we take people on, the link is in the chat box right now. If you want,
well, let's hope that the StreamYard internet connection is works.
Oh shit! This may crash it. If this crashes it, then we'll just leave it, and you can.
All right.
Has your pizza been delivered?
My pizza is gonna be delivered a bit fairly soon, so. I just hope it's being held with hygienic hands.
Yes, so do I.
Yes.
Mandy, can you give me the thumbs up if you're ready to come on? Okay, cool.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Hey, Mandy.
We're good. We're good. How are you?
Surviving. You know, the don't do this, don't do that, and the sun porch of my house. I at least feel like I'm outside, even though we're not allowed to go outside.
That's good.
Yeah, I was commenting earlier that it's funny here in the United States that my son got sick, and literally because he is young and whatever their reasonings were, he wasn't tested. And it really is because they don't have an actual test for it. But like they weren't even testing him for the regular flu, and I'm immune compromised. And it's really, it's just kind of like,
what's the story they give you for why they didn't test?
Well, they're saying that you have to get a hold of the KDHE, put in an application, and this is a military town I live in.
Right.
So I guess if you're not military or you don't fit the good criteria, they're like, no, we don't care if you're tested or not. Go home. So yeah, I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, it doesn't seem congruent with the idea that they're trying to control a pandemic as desperately as they can. Really?
No, if you live here in the United States still, yeah, you could definitely see that is definitely not what's going on. We've got doctors and nurses dying because they literally are wearing trash bags and Coca-Cola bottles split in half across their face to work on patients.
That's insane. And they're working close contact with patients they know are sick, symptomatic, sneezing, coughing. It's throat to throat illness, right?
Exactly. And my other son works in a factory where they literally, the only thing they're putting out right now, and he's one of the essentials because he's one of the engineer guys there, is medical pieces that go into ventilators and other things like that. Because the doctors are basically having to tell families, you're not going to make it because we don't have a ventilator for you. So it's pick and choose.
It's completely insane. Mandy, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Love your hair.
Thanks. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Put a request back in again. Sorry, Pierre.
Yeah, to go off on that, I just watched the video of what they're doing in New York right now, the place that's being hit the hardest in the U.S. They are, like she said, they're running out of masks and materials, and they are just holding Coke bottles and using Halloween costumes to cover their faces and stuff. They're also they're starting to build this is really scary, actually. It's in the back of a cargo truck. Is that what you call it? Cargo truck? And they're refrigerating it for the bodies because they don't have any other places to put them, which is really, really insane. They're building a bunch of.
Where was that? Where did you hear about that?
It's if you just look up New York hospital virus response or something.
I heard a nurse for a psychiatric unit talking to Stefan Molyneux the other day, and she was talking about the possibility of using trucks because they wouldn't be able to hold the bodies in the morgue.
Right.
And she was talking about wards filling up, and she said it really happened overnight. They just got completely bombarded with patients overnight.
Right.
I'm sorry to be such a fucking nuisance about this, and I'm not saying people aren't sick, but if I'm in charge and I say somebody gets to say who's sick and who isn't if they're not testing everybody. Somebody gets to say who gets a bed and who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that? Who's the person? Like, there must be somebody at the hospital going, "You need a bed. You need a bed. You need a bed, and you need a bed."
Right.
Just because all those beds are full, because people aren't being tested, that doesn't mean everybody has SARS-CoV-2. Doesn't mean that necessarily.
Right.
We hear these stories that the panic goes up, and you're like, well, that doesn't necessarily mean what you think it means.
Yeah. Someone's deciding who gets the treatment and not too. But either way, they don't have any of the materials. They're so underprepared.
Yeah.
We're not made for this right now.
Yeah. Tully is on. Tully, are you ready to come on?
Should I still do the timer? Is that a minute too short? Like, should I change it?
A minute's okay. Give us a thumbs up, Tully, if you're ready. We're timing everybody for a minute. Is that cool? Nod if it's cool. Nodding. Hi, Tully.
Hi.
Hey, Tully.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm wondering if you guys can talk about what you think we should do to prepare for when this is somewhat over. Sort of put some positive spins on it, give us some power, tell us what we should be anticipating everyone's going to need.
There's a guy who runs a YouTube channel called Spartan Life Coach. He talks about personal serenity, being emotionally
More than
regulated.
psychology, though. Like, should we be planting vegetable gardens, stuff like that?
I don't think that if the zombie apocalypse happens, I plant vegetable gardens if you want, stock ammunition and guns if you want, but I won't be. If the zombie apocalypse really happens, I don't know that there's all that much we can really do about that. I hope it won't. I'm hoping it won't. My bet, my money is on something a little more revolutionary than that, but not politically revolutionary in terms of consciousness. And I mean consciousness in a very day-to-day way. Not like everybody's going to become like a Zen monk. Everybody's just going to become more aware and not do what they're told. There are not enough police and military to control us all. There just isn't.
All right, do nothing.
I don't say don't do nothing, but sometimes doing nothing is the most revolutionary thing to do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tully.
Bye,
No
Tully.
problem. Have a good day.
Cheers. Slavoj Zizek literally said that when he was asked what should people do. He said, in fact, they made a song about it. It's called "Cut the Balls," made by a young Slovenian. That's about Slavoj Zizek, where he says, I don't say don't do nothing, but sometimes doing nothing is the most revolutionary thing to do. And he cites, just go read a book, expand the mind, think, and don't respond, because we are being bullied into responding. And by not responding, you're then not playing into the game.
Right. Well, what I will say, like, I think expanding on the knowledge is a fantastic time. And now is the time to really learn all the things that you've been putting off because you're too busy working your 9-to-5s and responsibilities and stuff. And if you want to grow a garden, go for it. It's not going to hurt in the long run. If you want to take the time to watch these YouTube tutorials on survival basics and stuff, that's, I think, a fantastic thing. If that's the worst case scenario, if you had that knowledge, it's only going to benefit you. In the best case scenario, if everything does go back to normal and we still have our first world luxuries, get really good on the internet. Because right now, anybody who works online is doing a good time.
Yeah, man, for real. Everybody's got to pandemic proof their business. Everybody's got to get online. Everybody's got to get into the gig economy, which is a terrible shame me saying that because it makes us all way more trackable and our money more trackable. But it's going to be the way it is. My fear is not the zombie apocalypse. I don't think it's going to get zombie apocalypse. It's not going to be like The Walking Dead. My fear is that we go back to normal and we forget. We lose this opportunity. That's my fear. That's my authentic fear, is that inside of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, not that we will just go back to work, but they'll say, look, you can go to the gym, but keep your distance. You can go to work if you do this, this, and this, but keep your distance. Next month after that, the restaurants reopen. They're already saying it's dying down. There are people already coming forward and saying it's dying down, it's calming down. And I don't think that they want to crash the economy. So my big fear is we'll just go back to normal and everybody forget about this and they'd all go back to sleep.
Yeah, honestly, I could totally see that happening. But if you want an advantage in life, I think getting online and growing either a business or just anything of that nature, it's only going to benefit you. And if you want to learn how to like start your own fire to cook a can of beans over it, I mean, if it gets to that point, then that helps too. Or learn some nunchucks.
Grow a cyber garden. That's your gardening that you should do.
Bitcoin mining, dude.
Okay, so how are you doing for time? When do you need to bounce?
I still got a bit more time. Is there anybody else that's coming on, or?
Yes, Ashley, are you ready to go? Can you give me the thumbs up? Cool.
Oh crap! Hold on. We can continue. Just take over. I gotta let her in.
Okie dokie. Let the pizza in. What are you saying? Doesn't even use his own code. He's reckless. This is how people get in trouble. Ashley, nice to see you. I'm afraid I can't hear you. Can you hear me? No, I cannot. Are you accessing from a phone? Are you using a telephone? Go like this if it's a telephone. Yeah, I don't think StreamYard will let you do that. It's really fussy about how. Yeah, it's really fussy about that kind of thing. Sorry, Ashley. If you have a question, you can write it in the comments and we'll try and answer it. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, I think it's tricky if you try and access this via phone. I don't think it likes it.
Yeah.
Unsilent Storm says it let me use my phone. Ashley, that wasn't the problem. It was probably the fact you were still connected on your eye. What are these things?
Mouth.
iMouth. Yeah, you were connected on your iMouth. iPods. iPhones.
No.
What are they called?
AirPods.
They're fucking terrible. Either that or my ear holes are really big because they just fall out.
Yeah, that means your ear holes are too big, man. You're too alpha for the AirPods.
Or my ears got stretched by goblins.
Doing what to you?
Stretching my ear holes with their little goblin dicks.
I'm more worried about that than the apocalypse right now, man.
So am I. The little goblin buttocks thrusting back and forth as they pull on my hair.
If there was a cause for the corona, it's that, dude.
The coronavirus has been linked back to a man in Liverpool. What did you do, you disgusting degenerate? I let the goblins fuck me in the ears, sir. Why did you do that? I love it. Goblin goo. That's what I'm all about.
Goblin goo, and then you interview the goblin.
Like high-fiving each other over my ears.
I think we can call it a night after that.
Why stop now? We're onto a good thing here. Goblin Bukaki of Spartan Life Coach. Okay, yeah, we probably should stop. Damn, son.
I got nothing to add on.
Pierre's latest track that's not by Pierre, but by another guy who looks like Pierre called Lil Klimp. You should all go and listen to that. Go to Pierre's channel, Pierre XO. It's really fucking good. Really, really good.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention. Pierre, do you have anything to add?
Don't get penetrated in the ear by green ogres. I said don't.
Oh, right. Yeah, don't. Totes. Because I never would. I do all the time. That's all we got for you. What should you do to survive the apocalypse? Get fucked in the ear.
You get fucked in the ear. Grow a tomato garden. Get fucked in the ear. Call it a night.
You're going to get fucked in the ear. Take it in the ear. Dick in the ear. Dick in the ear. Dick in the ear. Dick in the ear.